Coffee Break with me. Woo! Hi guys! Okay, so you're gonna hear a ton of noise in the background because today is Sunday and I decided to film on a Sunday, which is weird. Well, I didn't want to film on a Sunday, but Mr. Man was like, hey babe, why don't you film? I'll take care of Tater for a little while. That offer does not come by very often, so I had to take advantage. And you may be a little confused right now because I only have one of my eyes done. I'm in my pajamas, but we're just trying to keep it real here. You guys know how it is. So I am wearing my mint and gray leopard pajamas because these are my real pajamas. I know you guys like them. They're from Kohl's. So today what we're gonna do is we're going to do a tutorial, which is why I didn't do the other eye. I was getting ready and I was like, hey, I haven't done my tutorial that I promised you guys on the Kat Von D Ladybird palette. You guys remember I hauled this, I don't know, maybe like a month ago? Maybe more, I don't even remember. This is the Kat Von D Ladybird palette, only sold at Sephora, or better yet, that brand is only carried at Sephora, and it's an all matte palette. When I hauled it, I asked you if you wanted to see a tutorial, and I've kind of played around with it a little bit, but this is the only tutorial that I've done, and so I tried to do a look that is more neutral for a tutorial because I know, like, if it were up to me, you guys know how I am. I would have used like the purple, the navy, and like the orange color for a tutorial. But since it's a tutorial for you guys, I want to make it more neutral. I don't remember how much this palette costs. I think maybe $35, between $35 and $40. The quality of the shadows is pretty good. It's a little powdery. It kicks up powder a lot when you're dipping your brush in, but when you're applying it, there's not a lot of fallout. So it might have a lot to do with the brushes that I'm using or how much of a beast I am with my stuff, but I'm pretty happy with it. It's definitely not a palette that I would give up my firstborn child for, but it's a good palette. It has, you know, maybe two good crease colors or transition colors, and then a ton of really pretty colors. But I mean, it's an all matte neutral palette. How many matte neutral palettes do we really need? Or better yet, how many neutral palettes? I would say for someone that loves mattes, this is definitely a palette that you want to add to your collection because it's hard to find a good all matte palette. And this is a good all matte palette. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to use two eyelid primers. It's very rare. I rarely ever do this, but I have noticed that matte eyeshadows on me crease often. And usually what I would do is I would just use a MAC paint pot as a primer. And so what I've noticed is, I don't know if my eyelid has changed, if it's a new eye cream that I'm using or what's going on, but my shadows have been creasing. But I mean, I'm talking like after 10 hours, which is, you know, pushing it. It's not like I need to wear eyeshadow for that long. So what I'm doing now is kind of like a combo when I want my eyeshadow to stay on. For example, this eye, I've had this eye done for like 4 hours already without this eye, and you can tell there's absolutely no creasing whatsoever. So what I have been doing is I'm using Jessie's Girl Cosmetics eye primer. It's so good. I really love. It kind of reminds me of maybe the NARS one. It reminds me a little bit of the NARS one. And then on top of that, with my friend Tiffany. On top of that, I apply my MAC paint pot in Soft Ochre or Painterly. For today's look, we're going to use Soft Ochre, which is the more yellow one, and apply that on top after the eyelid primer kind of sets. And the reason I still do this one is because the Jessie's Girl one, it's not sticky, but it doesn't completely dry, silky soft. So it holds on, it kind of grips onto your shadows really well, so it makes it it's a little bit more work to blend out. So I'm gonna add this on top, and this kind of neutralizes like the veininess and the sheerness of my little old lady grandma eyelids. So that's that MAC paint pot. Then I'm gonna go into the palette, and I'm going to use, oh, what's this color called? I don't know. I'm just going to show you this color right here. It is called Harlow, I believe. Harlow. This is cool. This palette is cool because it has the names on the back. So this is like the more kind of like taupey, neutral, cool tone brown, and just my only blending brush that I use. This is a MAC 217. I'm going to put that into Harlow and kind of focus this on my outer V. And it's showing up a little bit darker because I had some product left over from when I did my first eye. But either way, we're going to go back in and darken it anyway, so it's not a big deal. So I'm just focusing this on the outer V, or the outer portion of my crease. And then I'm going to go in with that same color, Harlow, and a different blending brush, like a clean one, and then dip it into the orange and the cool tone brown. So Harlow and Cleopatra. A little bit more Cleopatra than Harlow, and that's going to go all over our crease, back and forth, windshield wiper motions, and you can go a little bit higher, kind of carry that out a little bit higher. You can see in this eye, it kind of goes up a little higher. And of course, you're going to go windshield wiper motions, but I also kind of turn my brush, like circular motions and back and forth. It's really important to blend out your shadows really well because it's kind of obvious when you don't. Sometimes I don't. If I'm in a hurry, I don't, and I don't really care. I mean, I don't really care. So kind of like that. Blend it out nicely. And so you can see where the darker color was. Down here, you can still kind of see that. But it's a little bit more soft now. It got blended into the orange. Now I'm going to take a flat shader. This is my favorite one from e.l.f. and I'm going to dip it into this color here. This is Unrequited. Unrequited? Yeah, Unrequited, like Unrequited Love. Aw. Story of my life until I got married. And apply that all over the lid. Just once. Then you're going to take your blending brush and you're going to dip it into this dark brown right here. That really dark, it's like the darkest chocolatey brown. It's like when we were growing up, my mom had this Christmas bear that she stood in the entrance of our house. Like when you came into our house, the bear would stand right there, and he was that color. And it's funny because my mom named him Scott. And for us, that was so weird because we were like, Scott, where'd you get that name from? You know, my mom's her first language was Spanish, so it's not like she knows all these, you know, typical American names. And we were like, hey, so where'd you get that name Scott from? Ooh, Scott, who's Scott? Tell us who Scott is. And it turns out that Scott was a custodian that used to work at the school she worked at. So that's where she learned the name. So I don't know why that story came about. Oh yeah, because Scott is this color. Scott the bear. I'm totally going to show you guys a picture. Maybe around Christmas time, I'll tell her to send me a picture. But Scott the bear. I think he still decorates my mom's house around Christmas time. Okay, so we already deepened out the crease just like that. We're going to go in with whatever is left on our shader brush and kind of re-highlight the light parts of our eye. And then we're going to go back with the lighter shader brush and put a little bit more orange on that because I really want the orange to show. And then apply that a little higher. Like that. You always want to look in the mirror, make sure both of your eyes match. If they match, then you're ready for mascara, eyeliner, whatever you're going to do. And you guys know what I do. I always do the inner rim of my eye in black liner and then mascara. That's just always what I do. For this look, what I did is I took a pencil brush and I dipped the pencil brush into the Harlow color, the Cool Tone Brown. I always dip it into that one first, and I kind of messily run that along the lash line. No, you know, no precision whatsoever because it's such a light color that it's okay if you're a little sloppy. So run it like that, and then after you do that, you see how it's not that dark? You're gonna dip just the very tip into the Scott, the Scott the Bear color, and just the tip, and you're going to do that just on the outer half, concentrating right where your lashes are so that you don't look like a raccoon or a panda. Okay, now I'm going to take my favorite black liner and I'm going to apply the liner to the inner rim of my eye. So tight line and waterline with black liner. Okay, now just curl your lashes and apply mascara and you are all done. So what do you guys think? It's pretty, right? It's kind of like a sexy summer nighttime date look. So if you add on like a pair of lashes or a lot more like gold highlight, it would be perfect for the nighttime. And then if you kind of maybe soften up, maybe if I didn't use a bronzer, maybe a little less of the dark shadow, it would be a perfect daytime look. But regardless, I wear any look at any time. I really don't care. I mean, I'm at home with my son, so the extent of our spontaneity and excitement is, you know, going to play with sidewalk chalk outside. So I'll be in like full face glam outside sitting on the sidewalk. So that is it for this Ladybird palette tutorial. I really hope you guys liked it. And as always, if you guys found this video useful or entertaining or learned something, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, this coffee break is over. Bye guys!